Welcome back to Nortman Reviews, everyone. I am your host, John Norton. And I thought it's time to do something a little bit different than what I've been up to. We just finished reviewing several issues of the Onslaught storyline in the X-Men and then the overarching Marvel Universe storyline. A big, world-ending, this is going to change everything kind of moment that Marvel does way too often lately, or they used to. I don't know. I don't really read as many comics as I used to. So I thought I'd do something a little bit more simplistic. I don't know about you, but sometimes there are just certain issues of comics that stick in your mind, certain storylines, and a lot of times they're in the major comics, like well-known storylines in X-Men, Dark Phoenix Saga, Spider-Man with the Green Goblin stuff, Avengers and the Kree Skrull Wars, Fantastic Four, all those ones that everybody knows. But sometimes they're just storylines and other titles that aren't as well known, but for whatever reason, they just resonate with you as a reader. Maybe it's the time or the place that was going on in your life. Who knows what it is? And there's this storyline in the Punisher comic books in the early 90s called The Final Days. It's a 7-chapter storyline going just in the main Punisher book. So you didn't have to go back and forth to different titles to make sure you're kept up. It's just, easy to follow. It starts in a random issue, number 53. It's part 1 of 7. We're going to go through all 7 chapters, not all in this one video, probably break it up into a few videos. But we're going to go through all of them, so strap yourselves in. So, Punisher has always been one of my favorite characters, and I have a rather different take with him. I mean, he is what he is. He's a normal guy, and he's violent. He kills people, criminals and all that. And people think he's psychotic, which I guess, yes, he is. But then, I don't know, in social media and movies, everyone thinks that a Punisher movie has to be rated R. It has to be ultra violent. Oh, there's Rusty. And while you can, I don't know, I guess that's true to a point. He does have to be violent, but it doesn't have to be gratuitous violence. It doesn't have to be blood and guts and just all that kind of horrible shit. It doesn't have to be way over the top. It doesn't have to be something like Deadpool violence or The Boys, the TV show. The Punisher, he originated in a Spider-Man comic book. He is a Marvel Comics character. So while his actions are perceived as violent, I never felt that he was just this Garth Ennis written, just hyper violent kind of a guy. He was a guy who had a sole focus and a singular mission, which is to, do away with crime and criminals, even though that's a never-ending battle. Okay, Rusty, I think it's time for you to go. I gotta show the book now. Okay, you've had your fun. Okay, move, get out of here. Thank you. We'll see you soon, I'm sure. So this storyline, I was just kind of looking through. It's been a long time since I've read through it, but it was just a simple action story like you'd see in a 90s, Sylvester Stallone movie or something like that. The stakes aren't terribly high. It's not end of the world. It's not life-altering changes. It has a crazy fucking ending, and if you've read this, then you probably know. If not, I'm gonna fucking blow your minds to the point where I was like, what is this, and why is this happening? So that'll be in a few issues. It's literally the final page of the final issue. Let's get into this before I start talking too much. As you can see, this fucking comic is just... It's horribly... This was part of the Great Flood, which I've mentioned. When I was a kid, I didn't have comics stored properly. I just had them in cardboard boxes on the ground. My room was kind of in the basement of our house, and my mom watered her garden, and she kept the hose on, and it seeped down into my bedroom and ruined a whole bunch of my comics. And a lot of them I just got rid of, but I couldn't bring myself to get rid of some of these. And you can see like the water damage on here. It's just the pages are ripped and crinkled. It just, it's horrible. And I have a lot of comics from back then that I've taken really good care of. This is just an unfortunate victim of that. So I'm thinking about maybe sending away for like fresh new copies. But it is what it is. So let's start getting into it. Punisher, this came out in October of 1991. I saw in the middle. The writers and artists, I don't really know. We'll look at it once the credit pages come. Hi, Rusty. Yes. Okay. But as I was looking through this first issue especially, I was really digging the art. It's not your Jim Lee. It's not your Mark Silvestri. It's not your splashy McFarlane or Liefeld or, cartoony like Joe Mad or J. Scott Campbell. It just has a simplistic nature to it, but it tells the story really, really well. The anatomy is good. The backgrounds are good. The storytelling is just spot on. I really was really, really, really enjoying it. So if Rusty will let us, there he is, we'll get into the comic and we'll go over the basic storyline of it. So I love this cover. Him in this trench coat, just blasting away with these two Uzis or whatever these guns are called. I mean, you don't know who's fighting. It's just like it's a simple cover. It doesn't tell anything about the story, but it doesn't really matter. Some of the covers in this do tell a story or hint at what's coming in the story. This is not. It's just him shooting people in a cool trench coat. I don't know who does this cover. If anyone can guess or knows, please give me a holler. So, cool opening page. Punisher, all already battle torn. I like the tears. Where's my fucking pen? My pointer. Hold on. There it is. I like the tears in his costume. You can see this body armor underneath. His knees ripped out right there. He's not wearing his white boots and gloves or his white bandana, but it's basically the same thing. And I love that he's just like, you can tell he came busting in here. There's his like Punisher van that he's rolling around with, all this debris right there. He's got a fucking like missile launcher, bazooka or something. And he's just pointing it straight at you. And you don't know what's going on, but you can guess. And for the last time, who's your supplier? And look at these guys. There must be in a meth lab or some kind of a drug dealing operation. And they're like, are you fucking crazy? Like, you're going to fry the whole block. You're like, yeah, man, he's bluffing. He ain't going to do something. I'm going to poke his eyes out with a barbecue fork. And Punisher, he's just like, well, you had your chance. And he just fucking shoots the rocket. That's just he shoots that guy first. And then just fires the rocket. And it just fucking explodes. That's just such a cool double page spread. I mean, you still got the van in the background. It lines up with the continuity. The explosion. It looks like it's on some kind of a dock. City in the background. Like I don't even know what's going on, but I'm having a good time already. So you got this old guy, and he's like, "Okay, you got one last chance. Like." I'm running out of patience. Like, okay, just get me out of here. He's like, speak, let me know. So he tells them about this guy, a guy named Howard Neese, Nees, Neese. And like, that's our supplier. So maybe that was a character who was in other issues. I don't know. And then, so he tells them, he gives the information to the Punisher. And he's like, okay, help me. Like, my leg's busted. You said you'd help me. And he says, no, I didn't. And if you look in close there, you can see the Punisher skull symbol in his eyes. I thought that was cool. My dog's barking in the background again. Anytime a goddamn person walks by, or a mailman or whatever. So he leaves, and he, detonates the rest of the base or warehouse or whatever it is as he's driving away. Cool opening. I like the the boom, it's kind of like curves around with the explosion right here. A bunch of action lines. Just a few pages, and like, we're off. We're having fun, right? So now, oh wait. Did it show? It didn't tell us who. Oh, it's coming. Who the writer, an artist is. So it goes to the Fisk building. So you got the Kingpin here, who is primarily a Daredevil villain, right? We all know that. I think he originated in Spider-Man. Probably is most known for Daredevil in the comics, the TV series, the movie, any iteration of Daredevil. Kingpin is his major nemesis. Kingpin of crime, streets of New York. But if you got a Punisher New York-based, if Punisher is based in New York and he's taking out criminals, like, he's going to have run-ins with Kingpin. So Kingpin is like, top 3, maybe top 2 of Punisher arch villains. And you can tell he's on like a skyrise building, and he's looking down, and he's not happy. He is also talking about this same guy, Howard Needs, that Punisher was just getting, and about how his operation is kind of fucking with Kingpin and what he's doing. So he's kind of like, he wants that problem taken care of. So this guy comes in, he's like, "Come in, George," and there's this younger, looks like an Asian henchman kind of guy. And this guy is kind of important going forward, at least in this storyline. And they kind of say how Kingpin put him through college. He knows that he's smart. So he's kind of not a henchman. He's not going to go beat people up for him. But one of his agents, his lieutenants, you would say. And he's and they're talking about the problem that they have about like the drug supply that Kingpin has going on, but then this Howard Needs is also like interfering with it. So they sit down. They're still talking. They have some tea. And Kingpin asks, so how do you want to deal with this guy? And he's like, "I have a great idea." So he pulls out this photo and he's like, "Here's this man, Linus Lieberman. You need to like detain them. You need to capture this guy." And he looks at it. He's like, "Wait, I know this guy." And he's like, "Yes, his name is AKA Microchip." If you know Punisher or watched the latest Punisher TV series, what's that? God, I can't remember the actor's name. He was on Walking Dead. You guys know the latest Punisher, but like Microchip was in that movie or that show. And that actor who played Microchip, I guess, is supposed to be the new thing in Fantastic Four. Cool. So, anyways, if you get Microchip, then you can persuade his associate to take care of this Mr. Needs guy. And he's looking for a photo, and he pulls out the photo, and there's the Punisher. And it's kind of cool, this photo with all these other contents of like a bag or a pocket, we got this butterfly knife, brass knuckles, a ticket, or a card to a massage parlor. That's funny. Gun, big red. So now we get to look at the credits. Mike Baron is the writer. Don't really know him. Hugh Haynes is the penciler. Jimmy Palmiotti and inks, I know him. And then letterer, colorist, editor-in-chiefs, all that kind of stuff. And it's titled The Finger up here. Gives you the finger. So we need to take care of this guy who's interfering with your drug business, Kingpin. Capture Microchip, and then you can, as it says, extort the Punisher into doing your dirty work for you. So that's the setup. And then they talk about like the logistics of the plan and what they need to do to get Microchip, where to get him, where to find him, all that kind of stuff. So more talking. And then you will talk. I've often talked about words on a page. And sometimes it's just like too many words, especially in the X-Men comic books, where they're just talking about nothing. But some comics, and I think this one is a pretty good example of it, is yes, there is a lot of words, but it's two people talking and they're setting up the story. I mean, I don't need to go through all of it, but I can give you the gist. But this is like characterization is telling them each, like they're having conversations back and forth, showing the relationships between the characters and all that. It's better than a lot of comics that I've been looking at lately. So, Punisher comes back from fucking up people. He's still in the same outfit. It's still fucked up. And he's like, okay, we need to get this new guy, this Howard Nees. And Microchip's, oh, yeah, sorry, I can't help you right now. I got to go to this toy fair. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, we got work to do, and you want to go look at toys? He's like, yeah, I sure do. It's like, I've been working, and I need some time off. Plus, Microchip had designed a video game, and it's up for an award. And he's like, yeah, cool, congrats. You can see. He's like, I don't fucking care. So he's like, but no one knows I'm the inventor, but I want to still go check it out, see it on display. He's like, all right, well, cool, but just whatever you do, don't get up and accept the award. Don't let them know who you are. It's like, yeah, I know. So you got Punisher talking, like, he talks to himself, but I think it's part of a war journal that he has, which makes sense. I mean, this is just a Punisher comic book. He has this Punisher War Journal comic that has been going on. And that kind of makes sense. Like, he's just, like, documenting the stuff that's going on with him. So instead of talking to himself, he's probably writing it down. So here you got Microchip at this toy fair, you know, what people think is cool and fun at the time in the 90s. And he's just looking at stuff, talking with people, and he goes into the arcade here. And again, like, it's not detailed backgrounds, but you get where he's at and what's going on. I like the down angle looking up. Good stuff. I mean, I like the artist. Like, he knows how to tell the story. So he comes by and he sees the video game that's up for an award. He's all excited. It's a tank video game. And he's looking at it, and then you see this free demo with his headset. And someone comes up behind him, is like, hey, would you care for a demonstration? And like, he's like, wait, what? And they put it on him, and it kind of zaps his head. And he's like kind of brain fried, and they just take him away. And he wakes up, and he sees it in the haze, and he's looking at Kingpin. So they have him in this like medical bed, and he's still like drugged up out of his gourd. It's like, what's going on? And they're kind of telling like you're just sorry, you're a innocent victim of what's going on here, and you're just you're just a tool for what we need to do. So the guy George is his name, his lieutenant, comes up to him, and they tell him to hold his arm, and he has this like butcher knife or butcher, what do you call that? Butcher block, butcher hatchet, whatever, you get it. So you're like, oh fuck, what is he gonna do? And raises it up and brings it down onto his fucking finger right there. And he's like, ah! You know, I like that it says chop right there, and I like how the word, like the art is inside the letters there. So he's still in a haze, probably doesn't feel much, but they put it in a package to be delivered. And then they give him some more drugs to like ease his pain. So then it goes to the Punisher, and he's at his base of operations. Whether I think he's inside, and he's just doing some training, which is kind of cool. Talking about not every knife is a throwing knife. Like, throwing knives are precise. You have to use them for very specific reasons. So this is kind of cool. He's jumping and throwing this knife and hitting this like target on like this dummy head, and you can see all these other knives that he's been practicing with. And then he has this staff or this bow stick, whatever you call it, and just takes off the head of the dummy there with the knife still stuck in it. Pretty cool. Just a cool, another moment to kind of show what kind of a badass the Punisher is, even though we all know. Then he hears the phone ring. Oh my god, like what is this shit in here? Like just horrible. So he answers the phone and they're like, is Mr. Lieberman in? Who's microchip? He's like, no. And it must be the front desk of wherever he's staying at. Yeah, front desk, I have a package for Mr. Castle, care of Mr. Lieberman. Are you Mr. Castle? And he's like, wait, don't send it up here. I'll come and get it. So he puts on some normal clothes and he goes down and he's like, this isn't good. People should not know I'm here. They shouldn't be sending me packages. I have a bad feeling about this. He's in a Star Wars movie. So he walks up. I mean, they put detail into like a background to show where he's at. Like, you could have easily put like a big picture of the Punisher with some doofus in a chair and you still get the point across. But this guy took the time. I don't know if I'd fucking do that. So he gets the package, and then he's like analyzing it. He's like looking in it like through a X-ray or something. Who knows? It's made of aluminum and appears to contain organic matter. But there's no indication of explosives. But he's still not taking chances. He's wary of it. He's got all this gear on and he opens it up and he looks and he's like, fuck. And he gets a note, 9 p.m. Fisk building, and like the blood, they don't show it, but you can guess that his finger is in there. So he's like, God damn it, I told you not to. So the gate opens here, and like you hear the rumbling of the van, and he says Wilson Fisk, alias the Kingpin. That's a cool shot of him in the shadows right there holding the steering wheel. So you got all these henchmen at the Fisk building in the lobby floor, just getting ready, gearing up, just walking around with guns like henchmen do. Then the power goes out on them, and they're like, "Oh shit!" But the second generator will come on. And then from outside, the van that he's in comes barreling towards them. They're like, "Oh fuck!" So they all get ready, and Punisher is pulling a fucking not Die Hard, a Roadhouse movie with Dalton. And just charging through like the glass doors of this lobby floor. And it gets closer and closer and crashes through, and all the henchmen start shooting at him. And like this Punisher van is souped up. This ain't no normal van, so this gun pops up from top, starts just like mowing down people as he's running people over. These guys have rocket launchers, lucky for them. And I like the color change because you can tell like there's a lot of action, fire, shit going on. They shoot the rocket and it blows up near the van. And so he's like, or it's kind of hard. And is he turning? Kind of hard to tell what's going on. It looks like it stops and reverses back out of the building, and then it turns around. It looks like this is a sidewalk, and it like takes off down the street. Yeah, so it's like, I can't believe it. He turned around, get after him. So the van like came crashing in, shot at some of the guys, and then turned around and took off. So all the bad guys are coming after him. Leaving like one guy here by himself, I guess. It doesn't show what happens here with him. But the Punisher is talking about how the van's on auto and will park itself 2 blocks away and take out a few more of them if he's lucky. So he's coming in after he's like lured most of the bad guys out. And he's in the building somewhere. It doesn't show. Like, I think he must be on an elevator. I mean, this is kind of hard to tell what's going on here, but it doesn't matter. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. And he comes like bursting into this door. Nothing's there. It's all dark. I like this with the light shining in from behind him. And when I first read this, these like claws came out. And I'm like, oh fuck, is it Wolverine? No, it's not Wolverine. It's just these spikes to block the way. And he's thinking to himself, there's an echo in here, and he thumps like the what he discovers is a glass wall. And so Kingpin is on the other side of the glass. He's like, it's bulletproof. Like, you can't get me. And he tells him what's going on. Like, hey, like, we have your friend. We need you to take out this guy. We need you to solve a problem. And Punisher had already guessed who it was. He's like, yeah, cool. So take care of this and we'll give you back the guy. And he's like, okay, I will do that because I have no choice. But he's like, no more pieces of him. One more piece and you're going to be like, consider yourself dead. I mean, Punisher wants to kill him anyway, so that's kind of an empty threat, right? So he's like, yeah, cool, whatever. So he lets the Punisher leave. And then he comes up from a sewer, outside of the police line so he can escape. And then somebody's looking at him through a scope as he's like kind of sneaking off. And they're like, oh my God, there's that guy who fucked us up earlier. He's leaving the Fisk building. He's like, oh, that guy. And we need to take care of him. So take a squad, beat it back to the guy's place, and like shoot him as soon as he gets as he steps through his front door. And that's where it ends. So great opening issue, kind of sets up what the story is. Ultimate, kind of. It doesn't tell you where it's going to go from here. But let's jump into the next issue, part 2, number 54, part 2 of 7, Attack. And you can see this one is even more fucked up than the other one, right? It's just I couldn't, I threw all my other ones away that were this bad. I wanted to keep these. Cool cover. I like it all in black. It's not as kind of as dynamic and as, I don't remember it as well as like that cover. It's pointing a gun. Doesn't tell you about what the story is, but it's okay. Part 2 of 7, Attack. So, Punisher's, see, you can see like where it got stuck and it had to rip it and it's still stuck to that page. Oy, it's all messed up. So Punisher was leaving, right? Where we left off the last issue. But he was able to scope out his own home and he sees that there's already like these bad guys in it. That's a crazy shot of like looking down as he's hanging out on the ledge on the streets below. And you got these guys that are already inside his home somehow. How they figured that out, I'm not really sure. They got this guitar. They're like, oh, that's cool. And they're like, where is this guy? Like, why hasn't he shown up yet? I got things to do. And I don't know, Punisher's talking more about shit. And it tells about stuff that happened in like issues a while ago. Doesn't matter. But he has the place rigged to blow. And so you can see it in the background here. And as he's jumping down, yeah, Hugh Haynes, still the same artist from the first issue. I mean, that's a cool, like, action shot. And in the background, the explosion of his headquarters or his home there. Clicking the button. Nice stuff, right? So now we go back to Kingpin. And this is a cool just silhouette of him right here. I mean, he's playing chess with Microchip. Like, he's a captive, but they're not torturing him. They're not, besides cutting his finger off, like, they're not being cruel to him. And they're just kind of chit-chatting about things. They're playing chess. They're talking about strategies in chess. And they're talking about the Punisher and why he is what he is, all that kind of stuff. And they're playing chess, and he like took his fingers off of a piece, and he went to move another one, but Kingpin's like, hey, you're not supposed to do that. That's against the rules. He's like, I had to take my hand out because you cut off my fucking finger. So he's all like butthurt about it, as I would be. And so this guy, George, his lieutenant, comes in and gives him an update of what happened with the Punisher's safe house. The place blew up with them in it, and Micro's like, God damn it, that was my house, I'm sure. Um, and then there's kind of talking about more stuff about what the Punisher's going to do. So then it cuts to the other bad guy, this Howard Neese. And he's upset about what happened, what the Punisher did to him, too. He's like one of those bad guys that's just going to kill his henchmen without a moment's notice. So he's yelling at this dude, giving him the information, slapping him around. And this guy's like, "Hey, you can't slap me. You can't do that to me." And he's like, "Oh, this is defiance, huh?" So I think this is just a moment to show this guy that he is supposed to be kind of a person to be feared. Does this jump kick to this guy out of nowhere. Takes his pencil, stabs it into his fucking hand. Like grapples him to the floor, puts a fucking knee into his chin. And then he's like, this is taking too long. Takes out a gun, just shoots him in the fucking face. He says, "You're fired. Go on, get out of here." So, kills one of his henchmen. Some of those are like, "Boss, what's the problem?" It's like, "This guy just quit on me. Take care of the stiff, will you?" And then they're going to talking about what their next plans are and what they're going to do. He wants the boys armed and ready. They're going to hit the Kingpin's trucking operation in Queens. And this guy's like, he's cracking his knuckles right there, kind of the down angle, looking up, cracking his knuckles. That's kind of cool. I mean, a lot of times, like, this makes me think of an artist, what more I could and should be doing. When you have, like, conversations, it's just easier to go back and forth just with, like, an expressionless face and just let the words tell the story. But this artist is like showing these guys doing different things, dragging the body out from there, cracking his knuckles. This guy's like, "I don't know if that's a great idea." And he's turning around. He's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Actually, it's a great idea. Good thinking." Like, he doesn't want to get fucking shot in the face. So Punisher is like, they found the home base, but he has other safe houses around. So he goes to one of his backup places. And he hasn't had time to convert it with a lot of like security, but he has this fucking dog who comes out of nowhere and just look at snarling and growling, but he's a good boy. He likes it. He was just playing a trick on his master, and he's like licking him. That's really kind of a sweet moment. Punisher smiling. Doesn't have a lot of human friends, but like if you can't make friends with a dog, there's something really wrong with you. So, he gives him food, gives him a bone, and he's like, needs some hardware. And this is kind of cool. He has this thing under this tarp. He takes the tarp off, and this fucking vehicle, I don't even know what to call it, like a Jeep of some kind, a Jeep tank thing. Kind of a cool design. The artist, did he design that out of his own head? Or is this something that he was able to look at, some kind of military vehicle? Don't know, but he's like, this is what you get for your $8 million. So he's going to take on the bad guys in this thing. Good boy with a bone. It's a good boy. So he's in this, we'll call it the Punisher mobile, right? It comes swooping in, almost runs into this car. You can see like the size difference of it. It has like all these other advantages as it like raises, like the wheels stay on the ground obviously, but like the I don't know, main cab or whatever you call it, the structure like raises up so he can like drive over cars to get by him really fast. He's like, has advantages people in Manhattan would appreciate. So he goes and he finds, he's communicating with Kingpin, and maybe they were talking about how they figured out where they were going to be. But let's see, a milk truck, a commercial semi, and a hot armored car. Spectrographic analysis reveals traces of cordite and other explosives. So even though it looks like just regular vehicles, you can tell that these are not. These are, what the bad guys are using to transport. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what's going on, he says. It takes a rocket. He kind of smiles, clicks a thing, and this missile or this rocket like fires from his Punisher mobile. And hits one of the trucks right here, and from top of this, he must be on top of a building, like a parking structure here, right? And he comes jumping off. And lands right next to, like, slams down. And the turret gun, the minigun, if you call it that, on top is turning as it's driving forward. It's turning and just like taking out like shooting the fuck out of these trucks. So Howard Neese, like he has a bazooka right there in the lead truck, and he gets out, he gets on top, he's like, if you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. This is very Batman, Dark Knight, Joker shit going on right here. And so Punisher's like, fuck. I should have taken out the lead truck first, because it's kind of hard to see, but the rocket is coming in at him. He's like, oh shit. So he grabs onto this canopy thing and like pulls on it, and it ejects him out. It's like, well, I'm only out $8 million. So the missile here takes out his fucking Punisher mobile. So that was kind of just a cool moment, cool action beat with that. And he comes parachuting down, shoots some of these guys on the truck, and he's like, coming down too fast. And is able to fucking jump kick this guy right in the face. Right there. How he did that, it's just cool, right? He says, you want $1 million? As he hits him in the back with a bazooka, even though he dropped it there. Who says that? He says, I want $8 million, nothing personal, as he reaches for the gun. And just fucking unloads. Look how many bullets right there, right into his face. Like, he ain't taking any chances. So this guy's fucking done with. And then the truck is still careening out of control. It's like, I got to get off this truck. So it goes off the side of wherever he's at. And this is just kind of a cool moment. And he jumps off, and there's like a hook from a crane. And he grabs it and like silhouetted a little bit in the moonlight there. And then he's like, fuck, cops are coming. So just another cool action scene that you could see in a good action movie, like a Die Hard, a Rambo, a Terminator, something like that. Like, he has this cool vehicle, this cool moment with it as he's like going through the street, showing how badass it is. Shoots a rocket in, jumps off a building there, lands, shooting up people. They take it out. He ejects out, flies down, kicks this guy in the face. They have a brief tussle. They fight. While they're on top of a semi going out of control, it goes off the side. He jumps, swings out, and lands. That's just a cool moment. Just cool action stuff. A lot of times, action in comics is very hard to do. I try to do it in my books. I try and pay attention to it, because when I see in like X-Men where you can't even tell what's going on half the time, so I appreciate this kind of shit. So cops are coming. He's got to get out of there. He's like, maybe there's a way off of the rooftops. Don't want to get in a firefight with cops. SWAT team is coming up. It's like, there's no time. He's on top of a roof. And he hears like this whoop, 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 whoop from a helicopter. And he is just goddamn fucking surrounded by cops there. Like 3, 4, 5 helicopters, SWAT teams on the edge of a building. And down below are all these police cars and these cops down here. And there's more coming in back there. He's like, fuck, man. They're like, this is your last chance. Throw down your weapon. He's like, I could get out of here. I could get out of this, but I'd have to shoot some of them to do it. And he's not, he's never been that kind of a guy. He says, I knew it'd always come to this. He puts down his gun right there. Merry Christmas. The cops come in for the arrest. And that's the end of this issue. This is just a cool pinup Todd Smith, and Roderick Delgado. Cool stuff. So, there it is. Couple issues with the Punisher. Punisher the Final Days. I mean, this fucking comic is at its final days, you know what I mean? So, we'll continue with this in the episodes to come here on YouTube. So, keep watching. If you like these, if you like the Punisher, give this video a like. If you like the video, give the video a like. I really appreciate it. So, thank you for watching. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.